Some places don't feel wrong at first. It's only later when you start replaying certain moments in your head that you realize something was off the entire time. And the worst part is, you usually don't notice it while you're still there. These are 5 disturbing Airbnb experiences that people wish they never booked before. We unveil this story. Comment below where you are watching from. And if you enjoy it with the moment of joy, don't forget to subscribe. The first story happened during a simple weekend trip. Nothing unusual, just a small studio apartment booked for a couple nights. The listing looked normal. Clean photos, minimal furniture, and recent positive reviews, which made it feel safe enough to not question anything. When I arrived, everything matched the pictures exactly. Nothing seemed out of place, but the silence stood out more than anything. There was no background noise, no distant sounds, just a stillness that felt slightly unnatural. I sat on the bed, scrolling through my phone, when I noticed something on the wall across from me, a small dark dot positioned at eye level. At first, it looked like a screw or maybe a sensor, but the placement didn't make sense. It was too perfectly aligned, facing directly toward the bed. I got up and walked closer, trying to understand what it was. And that's when I saw a faint reflection behind it. Something glass-like. Something that looked like a lens. I stepped back immediately without making any sudden movements, grabbed my bag and walked out of the apartment, leaving everything exactly as it was. I sat in my car for a while, trying to convince myself I was overthinking it. But the feeling didn't go away. It felt like I had been watched the entire time. I was. On the inside, I messaged the host, but never got a response. And what made it worse was checking the listing again the next day and seeing it still active, like nothing had happened. Like someone else could walk into that same room and never notice what I saw. The second story involved a short stay in a quiet neighborhood where everything felt slightly too empty. The house was accessed through a keypad on the front door with a code sent before arrival, which worked without any issue. The first night was completely normal, nothing out of place, nothing to question. But sometime during the second night, I woke up to a soft beeping sound. At first it seemed distant, like it was coming from outside, but then it happened again, closer this time, clearer. And that's when I realized it was coming from the front door keypad. I stayed still, listening carefully as the sound stopped. And then after a brief pause, the handle moved slightly, like someone testing it, not forcing it, just checking if it would open. I didn't move, didn't speak. And after a few seconds, the sound stopped completely. The next morning, I checked everything, the doors, the windows, the locks. Nothing was open, nothing had been disturbed. But when I looked into the keypad model online, I realized the code I had been given was the default code that came with the device, meaning anyone who knew the model could have tried it at any time. I left immediately and contacted the host, who dismissed it as a glitch, but that explanation didn't match what I heard. The third story took place in an isolated cabin surrounded by trees, far enough from anything that there was no signal and no sense of connection to the outside world. The listing included one unusual detail. Written casually, "Do not open the storage room." It didn't seem important at first, just a strange note that was easy to ignore during the day. Everything felt calm, almost peaceful, but at night the silence changed. It became heavier, more noticeable, and sometime late that night a faint tapping sound started. It wasn't loud, but it repeated in a pattern. Tap, pause, tap, tap. I tried to ignore it at first, assuming it was the house settling, but the sound continued long enough to become impossible to dismiss. Eventually, I stepped into the hallway where the sound became clearer and unmistakably came from behind the storage room door. The door itself looked completely normal. Plain and closed, with nothing unusual about it, but standing there listening to that sound made it feel different. I slowly reached for the handle, not fully committing, just enough to touch. I did, and the moment I did, the tapping stopped instantly. No delay, no fading, just complete silence, like whatever was making that sound knew I was there. I didn't open the door. I stepped back, returned to my room, locked it, and stayed awake for the rest of the night. And when I told the host about it, the response was simple: that room shouldn't make any sound. The fourth story started with a late arrival after a delayed flight. The host had left the key under a mat, which made the check-in simple, but the moment I stepped inside, something felt slightly off. The place looked clean but not untouched, like someone had been there recently. The bed had small creases in the sheets, and in the kitchen, there was a glass sitting on the counter half full, like it had been left there not long before. I assumed it was just a rushed cleaning and didn't think much of it. I locked the door and went to sleep. But sometime during the night, I woke up to the sound of footsteps, slow, careful moving somewhere inside the apartment. I stayed completely still, listening as the sound moved closer until it stopped right outside the bedroom door. I stared at the handle expecting it to move, but it didn't. After a few minutes, the footsteps continued again, slowly moving away until they disappeared completely in the morning. Everything looked normal, nothing out of place. Nothing missing except for one detail. The glass in the kitchen that had been half full the night before was now empty. The fifth and final story didn't feel unsettling until after the stay was over. Everything during the visit felt normal, nothing unusual, nothing that stood out. But after leaving, I decided to leave an honest review mentioning that something about the place felt slightly off and that there were unexplained noises during the night. A few hours later, I checked the listing again and my review was gone. Not hidden, not delayed, completely removed. At first, I assumed it hadn't posted yet, but then I noticed something else. Every review on the listing was the same, short, vague, positive comments with no real detail. Great stay, nice host would come. Again, it didn't feel natural. It felt repeated, almost controlled. I refreshed the page a few times, and for a brief moment, something changed. Lower ratings appeared, longer reviews, more detailed, more honest. But before I could read everything, the page refreshed again, and everything returned to perfect 5 stars, like nothing else existed, and that was the moment it stopped feeling like a glitch and started feeling intentional, like something was filtering what people were allowed to see. Sometimes it's not the place itself that feels disturbing. It's the realization that something about it is being hidden from you. And by the time you start to understand that you're already there,